My name is Dr. Jiva Lee, and I do a technique called BEST, Bioenergetic Synchronization Technique. I have quite a few people who have experienced the technique, and I'll probably call on you to give a brief testimonial as to how BEST helped you out. The reason why I do the technique that I do is because I like getting results. I like seeing people who can get results. I'm trained as a chiropractor. I graduated back in '98 from National College of Chiropractic, but before that, in my first life, I was an engineer. So I have a very analytical mind, so if it doesn't make sense to me scientifically, I really don't bother with it. As I said, I graduated in '98 from National. I graduated valedictorian of my class. I'm highly skilled at what I do, and I take pride in what I do. I stumbled upon BEST around 7 years ago. And the reason why I was open to the idea of BEST because I had practiced as a chiropractor, was highly skilled, knew all the up and coming things with the technique. However, people were getting well, but they weren't staying well. Maybe a year later, they would come back, not with something different, but with the same thing. And so I knew that there was something that I was missing in doing the technique that I was doing. And so when I found BEST, I found the answer to what I was missing. And what I was missing is, how many of you have ever been to a chiropractor before? Okay. So when you go to a chiropractor, most of the time, there's a spot or a region in your body that if you don't get adjusted, then you feel like you've been jerked. Right?
Yeah.
And so mine was always my right SI, right sacroiliac joint. If I never got that adjusted, especially after I had my children, I felt like my session was not complete. And the reason why I switched to BEST was because my right SI kept on going out after I got it adjusted. So the question for me was, why does this joint keep on going out even after I get it corrected? And the answer is that I wasn't addressing the root cause. The root cause wasn't the fact that this joint was out of place. The root cause was the programming that my body was sending to, my brain was sending to the body, was causing this joint to be out of place. All of us are made out of energy. And our bodies respond to energy in the forms of emotions, energy in motion. And so our nervous system, our autonomic nervous system, is highly responsive to emotion. And so we have emotional memory programs in our brain that affects how our bodies run.
Yes.
It affects if we're in ease or dis-ease. And so what BEST does is it addresses the program that your brain is running so that your body's operating optimally. It's looking at emotional memory patterns that you may have had established long ago through traumatic experiences or traumatic events that are still playing in your brain that's affecting your health right now. If you ever notice that you reach a certain age, things start breaking down. You know, most people say the threshold is like 40. After you reach 40, things start going downhill. And the conversations with your friends start changing after 40. It's not about what you've done, it's about what medication you're on or what doctor visit you had. And so the programs that our brain is running is a cumulative effect. Things that have happened over time that accumulate in our brain that causes our body to break down. And so what BEST does, it does a Control-Alt-Delete for those who are computer savvy. It's like a reset. It basically stops your brain running a program from a past experience and puts you into present time consciousness. So now your body's operating on what's happening right here, right now, as opposed to regurgitating an experience from the past and affecting how your body is running. I, as a chiropractor, used to see just musculoskeletal things. In fact, I had advanced training in orthopedics. I did a clinical residency in orthopedics for 1.5 years, where we would see all the difficult cases. We would see cases from other chiropractors as well as medical doctors. And so I'm well versed in seeing all the scary stuff and working with all the scary stuff as far as joint related problems are concerned. Now I see everything. because your nervous system runs everything in your body. So now I see people who have hypertension or diabetes or cancer or MS or post-traumatic stress disorder or insomnia or performance issues, the sexual performance issues. I see everything now because of what the technique does. When I talk about wellness, most people, when you think about wellness, think about physical, mental, and emotional wellness. But in my office, when we talk about wellness, we talk about physical, emotional, and mental wellness, as well as relationship wellness, financial wellness, and career wellness. Because if your money's not right, you don't feel good. If your relationships aren't right, you don't feel good. If your career is not right, if you're doing something that's unfulfilling and that does not feed your soul, you don't feel right. And so in my office, we look at health from a holistic point of view. Our emotions are happening all the time. In my office, we talk about the 6 essentials: what you eat, what you drink, how you breathe, how you exercise, how you rest, and most importantly, what you think. You can hold your breath for a couple of minutes, maybe. You can go without eating for a couple of days. You can go without drinking water for a couple of days. But I challenge you to go without thinking a thought for more than a moment. Your thoughts are happening all the time. And the impact that it has on your health is profound. But it's something that we ignore because we're doing it all the time. It's something that we just take for granted. But your thoughts are things. And they have a direct impact on how your body runs and how your body heals. And so the technique that I do in my office helps break these emotional memory patterns that are not serving you. It basically is like doing a eraser on a whiteboard that is your memory. And all the things that don't serve you are erased, and what is there to serve you remains. It puts your body back into original design. You're created perfect, whole, and complete. Disease is not something that is our birthright. It's something that has happened to us that we can correct. You don't have to look outside of yourself for that correction. More often than not, that correction can come from simply changing your mind. And that's what I help you do. The non-evasive technique, there's no torquing or twisting or bending or crunching of bones or anything like that that most people think about chiropractic and get scared about, that I used to have to allay people's fears when they came into the office the first time. None of that. It's very simple. In fact, the technique is so simple, it's hard to believe that it can be that simple. Especially for disease processes that have been going on for years and years. I've seen people who have had chronic pain for years, and after a couple of sessions, even after the first session, have a significant decrease in pain and dysfunction, and by a couple of sessions, the pain is totally gone and they don't even remember what it was like. I have people who come to me who have suffered from depression or emotional problems and have gone to talk therapy for years. And they come to my office, and after a couple of sessions, they are a totally different person. They're back to where they were before this whole dysfunction started.